Hey everyone, this is Audio Amigo bringing you another review. This is the One More Quad Driver in your monitor. You can see here's the packaging on the outside. It's actually a pretty large box. It's held together with a magnetic clamp, and then, or I should say clasp, and then this is on what's inside. You have a nice little plastic shield here, the drivers themselves, the case, a set of various types of tips, and a 1/4-inch adapter, along with, I believe, a clip and an airplane adapter. Now, I was pretty excited to get these. These were, I think, my second pair of in-ear monitors to be around $200. The first being the Noble X's, which I really enjoyed. I was interested to try a Quad Driver in-ear monitor, so when I had the opportunity, I pounced on it. I heard a lot of good things about these, especially from the triple driver, and to be honest, I was a little unimpressed. Now, one good thing about these is that a lot of the tips I have for my Noble X's actually fit these, so I was able to use some of my spin fits or my complies, just to give them a shot to see if they worked. And I did actually prefer both or either of those to the tips that come with this set of IEMs. That said, they couldn't cure the problems that I had with these inner ear monitors. Starting at the bass is really enjoyable on these. There's punch, there's extension. They're just really energetic, but they don't overwhelm the rest of the sound signature. I really like the bass on these. My problem, primarily, is in the treble. The treble has a lot of energy, and perhaps a bit more than I would prefer in a pair of in-ear monitors for me. Because the bass and the treble have so much energy, the mids feel sucked out. Vocals kind of take a backseat, which is unfortunate because that's generally what I prefer, mid-centric sound signatures when I can get them. The treble on these had a lot of zing to it, more so than I would have liked. There's a really hot energy that I found fatiguing, and I couldn't listen to these for very long, which is kind of unfortunate. That said, there are a lot of good things about it. That because the treble has a lot of energy, you pick up a lot on the details. It sounds like there's a lot of air. And some recordings can sound really good on these, but poorly mastered recordings with a lot of upper mids and a lot of treble energy, a lot of brass, certain types of drums, just made listening to these in the long run really hard for me. Now, that's a personal preference. I've always been somewhat sensitive to treble. Now, one good thing about these is they are relatively efficient. I did not hear much improvement going from a mobile device like my phone, which is a Moto G5, or running it through my headphone amp. Now, a few things about the rest of the accessories. The case itself is really nice for storage, but it's a little too big for taking out and about. I would never be able to put this leather case in my pockets because the thing just sticks out like, almost kind of like a sleeve of Magic cards, if that reference reaches anybody. It's just a bit much. The tips they provide a lot of, but like I had mentioned, I didn't find them particularly useful. Maybe other people had more luck with these. It wasn't my thing. They didn't work for me. Now, that said, the rest of it is pretty standard. There's a few manufacturers who'll give you an airport or airline or airplane adapter. The 1/4-inch was fine. The cable on this did not tangle easily, which is great. It does have a kind of rubberized covering around the outside, but it didn't have a springiness to it, didn't bounce around a lot. In fact, the cables were almost a little too stiff on these, which could be a problem depending on how you were using it. I bought these secondhand, and after about 2 months of use, the cable in the right channel actually came loose, and now I have intermittent audio coming out of the right channel. Just be aware that this may or may not happen to you. I did not put these under hard use. I didn't work out with these. I didn't go running with them. I only ever wore them at the heaviest activity was a comfortable walk, but most times they were on my ears when I was just sitting at my desk doing reading or something, which is kind of a bummer. I don't know if that's typical of the brand or the model, or if I just got a lemon. The company was really easy to deal with. I contacted them about that, and despite the fact that I ended up picking these up secondhand, they were still willing to give me a reduced price and buying another set, which I think was incredibly nice of them. So overall, I think $200 is a decent price for these. For people with not too much sensitivity to treble, I think you'll get a lot of detail, and if you're not looking for, a mid-centric IEM, these are probably a really good way to go. I think the bass is solid, the treble could be solid if you don't mind a little bit of spice to your treble. And overall, I have to say, if it weren't for the fact that I was treble sensitive and for the fact that the cable came loose, I'd probably be keeping them. One side note, something I didn't really think about until now, but the casing on these feels like some kind of, metal or aluminum casing or shell. I don't know what it is that they use to make it. But I have left these out in the sun before while studying, just had them on a table and then put them back in my ears, and they were pretty spicy. They were a little warm. So if you're going to be out in the sun for an extended period of time, the material may not be the greatest, or in the cold, actually, now that I think about it, just for comfort's sake, because they do sit kind of shallow. But that pretty much concludes my thoughts on the One More Quads. If you liked the video, please hit the like. If not, that's okay too.